You know what that is. It is the DBsono, no less. The F35, not the F37, which is the bigger one that looks like the Beosound Max. This is the smaller one that looks like the Tribit Stormbox Flow, or the Beosound Flex 2, or the Flex 1 as well, of course, and the Motion Soundcore 300. I have already done a video on that. Why didn't you watch it? Well, I think I know why. But anyway, if you want to know particularly two speakers that are at the budget end, I'm trying to give you value, because I suppose it's not going to be as cheap as the other ones, is it? No. That's what she said. You should have told me that before we started. Right, where are we? I always say that. That's my new catchphrase. Where are we? And it's not really a catchphrase. It's really my brain going, oh, hang on a sec, let me work this one out. Yeah, the Tribit Stormbox Flow came out. It was, for a lot of people, quite the alternative to the Flex. None of these are perfect. They're all going to have trade-offs, and you need to know what your trade-offs are prepared to be, to know where your dollars and your cash and your wonga, wonga. You see, I know what the kids say. I don't even know. We used to say that, and wonga used to be, wasn't it one of the lending brands? Wasn't it? They used to payday loans. Didn't they go broke or something? I know. I'm going to look it up because I don't know why that came in my head. Normally, there's some legitimacy to what I say. I could do ChatGPT. Here we go. Hello, ChatGPT. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How about you? What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because I was wondering, why did I say wonga?
It happens. Sometimes our minds just pick a word that's hanging around, even if it's not exactly what we meant.
Well, I thought you would actually be a bit more, because you're artificial intelligence, I thought you may come up with say, well, wonga could relate to, because you know I do speakers and all that. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with speakers. What I said wasn't that a payday loan company that went bankrupt?
Ah, right. Wonga was indeed that payday loan company that made headlines, so I see where you were going.
Good. Can you see the difference between artificial intelligence and actual intelligence?
I definitely see the difference.
Right, thank you. Goodbye. All right. Yeah. Right. Clears his throat. And has a cup of tea. Right. Okay. Hang on a sec. Going to turn this back on. I don't want it to turn itself off. Oh yeah. It's time out. No app. All right. Let's quickly go over.
70% battery.
Good. Did it say 100%? Last time it was 90%. But anyway. Yeah. So this isn't like the Bose Flex. It's got one round driver, 2 passive radiators. But this has got a separate tweeter and woofer. A lot of people will get excited when they hear that, and it's just got the 1 passive radiator on the back. But quality of components, of course, matters. We're going to find out how, to the budget options, we've done the 300, which is a stereo, old-fashioned stereo, which was quite interesting. How's it going to do with the flow? So the F35 is a 35-watt rated speaker that has Auracast. It has an X bass on, X bass off button, which is very strange because it's different at lower volumes than higher volumes, if you don't know. We got the volume up, volume down, play, pause, power button. We got the light show. They would call it the epic pulsing to the beat, whatever. And you can adjust it, or indeed turn it off from the button on the top. There is no app, so you have to do that. There is an app for that. Well, I want to get straight into the sound test. We can do specs and stuff at the end, but you want to know the headlines. A lot of people want to say 35 watts on the F30. Is it the F37? Have I gotten the wrong way around? Yeah, why is it? I think I've been saying for the whole of the other video, I've been calling this the F35. I'm either going to re-edit and cut out where I said 30, because that's strange. The bigger speaker, which is here, by the way, the bigger speaker has the lower number. Why is that? That makes no sense at all. 35. I don't know. God. I'm going to leave it in. What an absolute. Well, am I going to? I don't know. I'm going to sort that one out. That was about half an hour video, calling it the wrong speaker. And it is a bit weird because they got several names. DBX. They call it. So it's DBsono DBsono X Blast F37. in my app, it comes up with a different name. It doesn't have the F37 at all. It has, it just says DB Blast. Is that what it said for the F35? What did it say for the F35? DBX. It's very funny how they've programmed these speakers, showing how these are off-the-shelf things and out of step with some of the branding. So the larger speaker comes up as DBX, not F35. This comes up as the X Blast. You think the other one would be the Blast? Yeah, just kind of weird. And I don't know where these F numbers come from. So, but anyway, yeah. Well, isn't that strange? Isn't it strange how the world works? If it wasn't strange, we could understand it, and maybe it would be a little bit better. But artificial intelligence is coming along, as you can see. Everything's going to be perfect. Yeah, maybe not. So, yeah, that's the headlines on that. The Flow, of course, is a 25 watt rated. So on paper, rated less, but we know these numbers don't really mean that much. So that's got a 73 millimeter by 40 millimeter woofer and a 20 millimeter tweeter. Well, that's just got the one passive radio. That's got two passive radios, but one 63 millimeter driver, which means that's got 3,117 millimeters squared of surface area compared to less, even with the tweeter. So it's 2,000, basically about 2,600. So it's got an advantage. So even though they've gone to town with a racetrack driver, that's equivalent of about a 58 millimeter round driver. That's still got the bigger driver. Yeah, we'll get on specs in it. But it's a good test because that's in the UK costs you between 64 and 74 pounds. US because they're always changing the deal between $65 and $80, and that is a $60 speaker. I said last time, because I don't know, people talking about it as a $30 speaker, but it's $60 on Amazon. It is $60. That's what they're selling it for. And that's why we've got to rate it as a $60 speaker. At 40%, we're going to compare them right now.
Through the fire, understood you're strong inside, and how I really care. Oh, lover, we still love each other. Come on, let's leave the stains behind, and let's fly again.
The F37 has a very silly tuning for X bass off at low volumes, where they've completely removed lower mids and any bass at all. It makes no sense. Far more realistic on the Flow, where you still get some bass and some mids, even with bass boost off. And with the two speakers bass boosted, there isn't a huge amount in it in terms of the bass. A lot of this will come down to how you match the loudness to your ears. For me, at loudest matched volumes, the F37 bass on is a tad bassier, but it is coming at the cost of considerable upper bass and lower mids, where the Flow remains more balanced, quite similar throughout the rest of the mids, till a bit of a dip, 3 kilohertz on the F37, and then they both have a bright high end. Overlaying the original track, you can see they are both boosted at the high end, and they both have a big boost in the bass with bass boost on, but only the Flow has a balanced bass off mode. So that makes way more sense the way they've tuned it. I'm going to get this out of the way. That's what she said. Right. They both have obvious distortion, even at lower volume, with X bass on. I mean, that cuts bass altogether, of course it's not going to distort. But with X in their bass heavy mode and their bass heavy mode, they both overdrive and distort. But the Flow will do it less. By comparison, it actually makes it sound like it's a clean speaker. But I want to get this over.
That's what she said.
Yeah. This is not a clean sound. I said that when I reviewed it. It has obvious distortion, but this we have come to learn. Those of us with older ears, the younger crowd. Well, I don't know. A lot of them are not even a young crowd, are you? Most of you, my age, I think, or around that my age. Not everybody. Some of them. Yeah, don't waffle so early. Okay. However, I'm just saying, people these days don't seem to be so bothered by quite bad distortion. They don't seem to be able to know that isn't bass. However, I'm saying in my terms, they both distort, but that distorts way more, making that sound a little bit clean. With with that bass boost off, it's quite balanced. It makes way more sense. That's just crazy. They just removed X bass off. They completely removed the bass. I guess to flatter X bass, but they could have had a balance mode, and they chose not to. However, if we just compare the bass boosted mode, which I assume most of us is the only mode we'll be using. Just remember, you can use that with bass off. It's reasonably balanced, and so it's not, you don't have to, but in this case, we are comparing bass boosted modes. I mean, I can only keep repeating the on the two speakers I've had, the F37, remember, it just seems like an F35 to me, but it's not, it's the F37, and the bigger one is the F35. They go for as much deep bass as they can, and they are willing to remove all upper bass and lower mids to get there. And so, depending on what you're playing, can sound quite weird. But they've gone, it's all about a warm sounding speaker. And on this one, it's going to be more at lower volumes. Just know, it's got to suck out 180 hertz to 400 hertz. Whereas that, it's more balanced. It's bass boosted, but it's bass boosted everywhere. So you don't lose your mids and your mid bass, your upper bass. And actually, the overall bass, if I have a look, is quite similar. Where is it? Yeah. Depending on, when I level the loudness, it's relative to the original track. I mean, everyone will have their own ideas how to level them to make it fairer in terms of A/B testing. The way I do it is relative to that original track. But the bass is so close, depending on how you normalize them, one or the other may end up having the bigger, deeper mid bass, but that will always have the bigger upper bass because it's not scooped. They both have the high-end peak, but then they are opposites, where that has a signature dip, 3 kilohertz. They have the boost at 3 kilohertz. I don't know why it's quite as wavy as it is when they've already scooped the upper bass. It just means it's never balanced no matter what you're listening to, because it's not balanced anywhere, whereas that outside the bass boosted, the bass being boosted, it's reasonably balanced, but they obviously both have the boosted high end. What else did I say? So at the end of the day, this is going to be an ongoing story no matter what you compare it to. This is very bass heavy, very warm sounding at lower volumes, and a lot of people are going to really like that because but the bass dominates. If you don't want your bass dominating, again, it's a no-go. But nobody who wants a balanced sound is going to be buying that. People who want a bass heavy sound may well be buying it, but if you play something without bass, without deep bass, you're in trouble because you've only got deep bass on there. So warm can be fun with bass heavy music, but that's going to be more of an all-round speaker. They both distort, but that distorts way more when you have bass boost on. So 66% and loudness matched.
I've been getting all night. You know I'll be making all that
So Flow with the bass off easily outbasses the F37 with its bass off because of the massive suck out upper bass, lower mids on the F37. Pretty similar through the mids, upper mids. It's advantage to the Flow. And then there's more of a high-end boost on the F37. In terms of bass on both speakers, the Flow is actually doing a reasonable job of keeping in line with the original track, whereas the F37 simply cannot keep up now in terms of bass. It's relying on a single peak, which is now around 95 hertz, and then completely losing upper bass and lower mids. So as you go to the louder volumes, the weird tuning on the F37, the bass on, bass off, the bass difference narrows considerably. There isn't the bass headroom, so it isn't now massively bass heavy. In fact, it starts to become bass light at these louder volumes. That's why it's a speaker of two halves. Warm, heavy, bass heavy lower volumes with distortion. Still got some distortion, but maybe not quite so obvious because but it's still there, to be fair. But bass light, so the rest of the track dominates a bit more. But bass is there, but it's falling off. It's all about the low volumes, whereas that is remaining more of an all-round listen. But hey, it still has obvious bass distortion. Of course, it's going to depend on the tracks you're playing, but if you play enough tracks, that's what you're going to keep hearing. Just the bottoming out, the overdrive on both speakers, but that's way worse. Makes the Flow sound clean, which is going some. So warm, a little bit veiled. The vocals become distant, but that's always going to be the case with the speaker. A little bit hollow. With a lot of tracks, the bass is a complete mess. The Flow at these louder volumes outbasses the F37 while being more balanced, but not particularly clean. So maximum headroom, 100% volume. Both these speakers push the bass heavily. With bass boost on, they are both bottoming out. It's obvious and you can hear it. But in terms of measurable bass, the Tribit Flow does outbass substantially the F37. Overall bass with bass boost on compared to F37 with bass boost on, it's over 4 decibels louder. The Flow is stronger in the mids, and the F37 relies on a high-end unnatural boost for its loudness. It's completely rolled off in terms of bass at 4% bass balance. It's not fantastic on the Tribit Flow, but 14% is still a lot better than the F37. Tribit Flow is also more accurate, and with the bass boost on, it's not the best sounding bass, but at 61% accuracy, it's doing a reasonable job maintaining the original track. The F37 doesn't resemble the original track at all. I've got to say that at loud volumes, at maximum volume, the F37, I mean, it's painful to listen to. It's all highs, and it's boosted highs. There's nothing natural about it. All the volume is coming from the high end. It's painful. If you just want it to go louder, it will go louder. The Flow is retaining more bass. It's going near as loud, but it's doing that without actually having to have that boosted high end. Where's my maximum volume graph? Yeah, it's more in line with the original track, as the accuracy score shows. It's way more in line. You're going to hear more of that bass. I mean, that's just, I can't really listen to that maximum volume. You can still listen to that. Yes, it's going to distort. Neither of them are perfect. If they are both the same price, got to say, for me, the Flow is the better buy. Unless you want a really, really warm sounding speaker at low volumes. That's the thing that this speaker does. But I think it needs to be $40, not $60. Then it would make more sense to me. But who am I? Just to go over the specs altogether. We're talking about the price. That came out, time flies when you're not enjoying yourself. That came out in 2023. It's just come out in 2026. By the way, it does not have multi-point. I mean, that will be a deal breaker for some people. That's got multi-point, but you'll have to pause on one device before you can play on the other. Don't know what hours. They only talk about the battery at 2,500 milliamp hours. So it's either going to be 19 watt hours or 18 watt hours. We don't know. It could be either, to be fair. But yeah, probably 9 watt hours, which wouldn't be good. But 18 watt hours would be in line with the 17.5 watt hours of the Tribit Stormbox Flow. They both do they both default AAC, but obviously we'll do SBC. That's Bluetooth 5.3. That's bleeding cutting edge technology. Bluetooth 6. They both do stereo pairing. They both got USB-C charging. You can use the Flow as to make phone calls. You can't use this to make phone calls. That's what I'm saying. To me, this is a $40 speaker. I'm not sure why there's something that's at $60. But anyway, it's rated 25 watts, rated 35 watts. Can use that as a power bank as long as you've got 50% or more power. Cannot use that as a power bank. Basically, weigh the same, 621 grams, 663 grams. That's IP67. You can drop it in a 1 meter water for 30 minutes, and it's dustproof. It's IPX5. It's not dustproof. Basically, you can splash it a little bit. So we've got that 63mm woofer. We've got the 73mm by 40mm woofer, which is like having a 58mm woofer. And we've got the tweeter. But I see no benefit on this from having the separated speaker. On these, I mean, even having a crossover on these cheaper ones, to me, just go for the biggest oval driver you can get would make way more sense, but I guess it would cost them more. But they're selling it at $60, and I'm sure this is a $40 speaker. I saw Jagus Reviews. I think he said this was selling at $30. I don't know where that's come from. I'm just saying when I look on Amazon, it's $60. So obviously that's got more surface area. They're both pretty reasonable for lip sync, but that was and on AAC, which is good going. That's slightly better for lip sync. Well, streaming YouTube, but for me anyway. It's got a 9-band. It's got the app. You've got a 9-band equalizer. You can save presets and stuff, but that's got no app support at all. But apparently, app support is coming. Now, that's been my comparison. So there's no perfect speaker, and these certainly, for me, I wouldn't really listen to the Flow either because I'm sensitive to the type of distortion the bass is coming up with. But a lot of people aren't, and so I think that would be the better buy, certainly in terms of functionality. So, certainly if they're the same price, but that can sell for up to $80. But then, look, this speaker's niche is very, very warm at low volumes. If that's what you want, then it's doing a job for you, and that would be for me the only reason to buy it. Thank you for watching, and there's another one coming in the series, and it's going to be the big one. Against the Beosound A1 Flex. I wonder if you can predict what's going to happen. I'll see you in that video. Bye-bye.
What the was that?
It comes from China.
My speaker's got deep bass, balanced mids, and a bright high.
Yes, mine sounds exactly the same.